Hi, good people. Hi, TIs. It's Sherry, and I'm here with some free and valuable information for you that is going to help you to benefit yourselves as well as each other. And today's video is going to be a 10-point listicle on 10 ways to survive a short-term or long-term stay in a hospital or skilled nursing facility, otherwise known as nursing homes or old age homes. However, don't let the names fool you. It's not always for just older people, and I will explain. All right, so stick with me and we'll get to it. 10 ways. It's very important information. Little disclaimer, I'm not a doctor or a nurse or a lawyer, but I have worked in both hospitals and long-term care facilities, skilled nursing facilities, interchangeable, and I've worked on the rehab units in both. So then I do have a little bit of insider knowledge that I would like to share with all of you, all right, to help you if you should ever experience this conundrum of us having a stay in a hospital or a skilled nursing facility. And since YouTube is a giant search engine platform, okay, you can always watch videos from actual doctors and nurses and lawyers to get information, okay, on this subject. It's very interesting. We're going to get into it. It's going to be brief and it's going to be very helpful information for you all, as well as myself, okay? So let's get to it. One thing I want to mention before you guys leave and think, okay, this video is not for me. I'm not old, I'm healthy. I believe you, and that's wonderful. It's great. And that being said, you know, we all get older, okay, and we all might experience, hopefully not, but sometimes we experience accidents or traumas or sickness that we didn't plan for. So keeping that in mind, this video is not to make you depressed or make you anxious about the future. It's to empower you so that you know how to survive either a short-term stay or a long-term stay in a hospital or a skilled nursing facility, should it ever come to that, okay? Again, there is a stereotype that only skilled nursing facilities are for older people, or the chronically, hospitals, it's for the chronically or terminally ill or the very old, or people who are having babies. That's why you go to a hospital, right? But again, things happen and we could get sick, have an accident, and even if we manage to avoid all that, we do eventually get older, and we need to know this information, if not for ourselves, then for our loved ones, people we care about, people that we love and that we care about, okay? We want to make the best decisions. So listen up, please. This info is valuable, and I will be quick. 10 ways to survive a short-term or long-term stay in a hospital or skilled nursing facility. Okay, so also stay tuned to the end because I do have a bonus tip for you that will come in handy should you ever need it, okay? Also, if you like this type of content, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you can get my weekly research and reviews that I do. It's always information that helps you to benefit yourselves as well as others. Okay, thank you guys. All right, so tip number 1. And you guys are going to see me looking to my side here. I apologize. I'm looking at my notes because, yes, I did type out notes for this. I always do. I use a script. It's an important topic. It's an important, piece of work. So, it has to be written out. I can't just free flow it. I suppose I could, but I digress. Anyways, I'm looking at my notes when I'm looking to the side there. Thank you, guys. All right. So tip number 1 out of the 10 is know your general medical history, and diseases or conditions if you have any. Okay, so there is an interesting book that I've been reading. It's available on Audible, and Audible is, you have to have an Amazon Prime membership. Anyways, but they do have a free trial period. It is wonderful, especially like for drives to work or just drives in the car. You can actually listen to a book. I love self-help books like this one, Outlive. It's written by a doctor, okay, and he speaks about the 4 major disease processes that humans get, okay, and the 4 major ones that could lead to lengthy sicknesses, periods of, long times, many times way before you die. And I've seen that a lot, versus the preferred method is to live healthily as long as possible, and then one day you die without having had to go through lengthy periods of sickness, or needing care. So that's the preferred way. And this book talks about the 4 major diseases that humans get, not only that we die from, but that we get sick from, okay, that we want to avoid. So, and he's a doctor, so he's basing this on his experience. The first thing was cancers, of course. Second thing was heart disease, and everything that goes with it, you know, strokes, heart attacks, endocrine diseases, such as diabetes, thyroid, things with your hormones and such. And then also neurological is the fourth one. So that's things like, you know, multiple sclerosis, or and Parkinson's, you know, MS and Parkinson's. So yeah, so those are the four things, and he just has a really interesting outlook on it all. I would definitely, you know, based on his experience and how we can avoid, you know, getting those kind of sicknesses, you know, even if it's in our genetic code, and you know, try to grow old and die the preferred way, which is to just get old healthily and die one day. You know, that's the goal, right? Okay, Outlive. That's a great book. Okay, so again, just number one, be aware of your general medical history, you know, your family history, diseases and or conditions that you might currently have. Okay. Also too, as a side note, I want to say this, just having worked in these environments, be aware that some parts of your medical status and history could carry stigmas and biases, which could affect your treatment and care in a medical setting. Okay. Diagnoses such as that I've seen firsthand, anything to do with mental illnesses, you know, even something like depression, of course, schizophrenias, anxiety, drug and alcohol addictions, which are a form of mental illness, right? STDs. You know, at the end of the day, medical staff are just humans, okay? It's people taking care of other people, and some people have strong issues about certain things. So keep that in mind, that, you know, when you're having a short-term or long-term stay somewhere, there is your care plan and your medical records, which the staff will look at, you know, to reference to help you. And also, unfortunately, sometimes, but they and not, you know, even consciously, I don't think. I think it's very subconscious. But people can develop biases and stigmas towards certain diagnoses. Okay, diagnoses. You guys know what I'm saying. Okay. What else am I gonna say? Okay, so. I just want to give you an example. There was a person once. This was a while ago. I actually worked at the mental health complex. Okay, and I've even seen this with a man with alcoholism, you know, and the nurse had a father with alcoholism, you know, and there was some, you know, and had bad experiences with him. So you can imagine how much it triggered her when she was caring for this gentleman who was not her father, no relation, nobody to her, but she had some, I think the therapist called that transference, where you know, one person basically reminds you of another, so then you treat that person like the other person that you actually had dealings with, which is unfair to the person who looks like them or acts like, you know, because they're not them. But that's transference, and that can happen too with these diagnoses, with the stigmas and the biases. Okay. And this gentleman with the alcoholism, you know, he was dealing with his own stuff, you know, and he was slightly he had behaviors, as they refer to it. Okay, but he wasn't horrible, and he wasn't super inappropriate mostly. Okay, sometimes he could be, but you know, it was dealable. But just keep that in mind, okay, about with your medical history. Okay, that if there's certain things in that you have or dealing with or have dealt with, that's going to be looked upon, could be looked upon, you know, with stigmas. Okay, so be aware of that. Okay. So, and also in disclosing that information to whom and for what. Okay. Also too, I will mention this, when I worked at the mental health complex, there was a gentleman who was having real bona fide medical issues. However, since he was in a mental health hospital type of setting, they would attribute it to anxiety. You know, the guy was complaining of legit issues, and you know, the staff kept brushing it off, not taking it as seriously as, you know, it's just anxiety. You know, that's in his diagnosis. He's just having anxiety. Well, it turns out the guy ended up having a blood clot, I believe, in his neck. It was a very famous story. They marched over it and picketed about it. That, you know, he should have received more medical care, and he shouldn't have been dismissed as such. So just because of his diagnosis. So you see, diagnoses can lead to stigma and biases in treatment and cares you receive. Because at the end of the day, again, we're all just people taking care of people, and people, humans, human error. Okay, so that being said, all right, moving on. Just wanted you guys to know that. Okay, so number 2, we're only at number 2. I'm sorry. Number 2 that you need to know. Know your medications, guys. Know your medications, both before, during, and after your stay. Know what medications you're on. Count them. Don't just take out your pills. I know you have a little pill box. You get them all in there and then you dump them out each day. At least know the number. At least know the number and what the pills look like. Okay, this one's my vitamin D. This one's my blood pressure. This one is my, my diabetes. Whatever you're taking, count your pills and know them. Know what they look like, okay? Know how many and what time you take them, okay? Also, too, if you're going to be having a short-term or long-term stay in a facility at a hospital, you might be having new meds depending on what happened to you. For instance, if you had an underlying heart disease and you didn't know it, now all of a sudden you're newly diagnosed, and now you have new meds, you have blood pressure pills, which a lot of times are blood thinners, heparin, for instance, again, a blood thinner. It's the number one misgiven medication in hospitals, okay, in the medical field that I've read, okay. And if you give somebody too much heparin, too much blood thinner, too much can slow your heart, and you could, expire off of that. So know your meds before anything like this ever happens, and know them during with your new medications, and then when you get discharged, hopefully you go home, know your medications, okay? Also, too, there's things like statins, which are cholesterol lowering, lowers cholesterol. That's all within, that those definitely you need to know about them, okay? How many and what time you take them, okay? And the dosage. All right, also pain pills. I'd like to say this: pain pills and sedatives for things like anxiety, or, different psychosis. What pain pills, okay, and sedatives are usually sedatives are anything that ends in a PAM, lorazepam, I'm trying to think, clorazepam, the PAM family. Those all work on your central nervous system, okay? And they decrease your heart rate, right? It's calming you down, right? Because it's decreasing everything, which is wonderful. It really works. However, if your heart rate gets lowered too much through pain pills or sedatives, you can have a problem, right? So be careful about that, okay? Also, know your side effects of your medications. Tiredness, right? Dizziness with a lot of the blood pressure medications and the statins. Why? Because you're lowering the blood pressure, right? You're lowering the heart rate. Whoa, your heart has to when you stand up, your heart has to make sure the blood gets pumped through your whole body, down to your feet, down to your toes, up to your head. That's a lot of work, and it's fine. Our heart does it. But when you're taking medications to lower it, that could affect your dizziness, okay? That's one of the side effects. Also, too, when you have dizziness, you're prone to have loss of balance. Why does that matter? It could lead to a fall, okay? Before you go to the hospital, actually, it could be a reason you get admitted to the hospital or facility. Also, I've seen this happen a lot when people are newly diagnosed. They're just taking the pills. They don't realize that it's going to make them dizzy. They don't realize they have a loss of balance. They've been healthy their whole life, and all of a sudden they get up to go to the bathroom. They're dizzy, and boom, they fall, which only prolongs their stay, and in fact could make it worse, as you can imagine. Okay, so know the side effects of any medications, okay? Know your meds, know what you're dealing with, count them, know what time, what they do. Don't just assume. Don't let other people do that work for you. It's your body. You're taking these meds. Know it. At least be familiar with it, Also, too, I want to say there's something called contraindications. It's a big word, and basically it means when two meds interact, okay? So I'll go back to my example of pain pills. Now, this is, if you're in a hospital or long-term facility, whatnot, getting rehab because something happened. A lot of times, you can have a pain pill. Again, pain pills depress the central nervous system, okay? And then say you take a pain pill with a sedative, okay? Now, the sedative also decreases your central nervous system. So you got two medications that are doing the same thing, okay? Same thing with blood pressure. It's lowering, right? So be careful, because again, the two meds together, if it's too strong, it could lower your heart rate to the point of to a bad point. And I know that because working in the hospital, on the rehab floor, we would have to watch patients extra when they were taking, the nurse would tell us, hey, make sure you keep an eye on such and such Mr. Smith. He just had a pain pill, and he's also had a sedative, whatever. So, yeah, so make sure they're breathing and everything. So I just wanted to point that out, contraindication. So be careful. Be careful. Me, myself, I would use pain pills, within reason. You guys all make your own decisions, but use pain pills sparingly, as well as sedatives. Again, they have a job to do and they work very well. With any medicine though, be careful, right? And use sparingly as needed. The body's very healing by itself. That being said, medicine has definitely a great purpose. Okay, so what else? Also with your medications, I want to talk about human error. Okay. You think that when the nurse passes your pills that they know everything that's going on, okay, and they do, okay, and the doctor prescribing them, they know everything that's going on, and they do, okay. Doctors make mistakes. They're humans, okay. They could make an error in prescribing the medication. Their handwriting could be a little off, or transcribing it, okay. The nurse, when she's getting, when they've got this book with all, with your chart in it, with the medications you take, and it could be just a small error in the writing where it looks like something else, or the dosage looks like something, just a little handwriting error, because sometimes things are handwritten in. Usually they're typed, but sometimes they're actually handwritten in there that that I've seen. Again, double check this information, but I'm just saying, just imagine, okay. So that could lead to error. Also, with the staffing shortages that many hospitals and facilities are going through, if a nurse has your medications in a cup ready to go, but she gets interrupted, and grabs the wrong cup, oops, not that's not unheard of. It's not impossible. Even with the best of people, there is human error. Okay, maybe someone is coding and needs help as soon as possible, or they have to be sent out to the hospital, and your pill was at 4 p.m. and now the nurse has to give it to you later, but it was scheduled at 4. So now your 4 p.m. pill was given at 6, and now your pill is in the night shift. Nurse doesn't know, so now the night shift gives you your other pill that was due at 10, right? Because it's time in between, so that they don't interact, but she didn't know, or maybe the nurse forgot to mark that she gave it to you at 6, so now you're getting accidentally, there could be an interaction of sort, okay? This kind of stuff happens, okay? I don't know of any specific situations, don't ask me, but human error can occur. So it's up to you and me and all of us to know our medications, okay? Count them, know them before you even ever go to the hospital. Know what you're taking, and know what they look like. And then if you're ever admitted to a hospital or a facility, know your medications. Know your medications. That's all I'm saying, okay? Human error, it happens to the best of us. Okay. Number 3 thing to know when you go into if you have a short-term or long-term stay at a hospital or facility. The third thing is falls. Okay, falls, and now this is before, during, and after. Falls, due to medications, due to, underlying, orthopedic issues, whatever. It can lead to broken body parts. You can break these are all joints. They can be broken. Your elbow, your shoulder, your rotator cuff, your shoulder, your knees, your hips. I mean, your ankle, for goodness sakes. The toes in your feet, right? I don't know. Can you break your toes? I think you can. They're cartilagey, but I think, anyways, you can imagine. When this happens, you can be down and out and be sitting in a rehab facility somewhere, even if you're not elderly. Okay, even if you're of regular age, you're shoveling, you slip and fall. Stuff happens. Accidents happen. And if this ever happens to you, I seen somebody had broke their rotator cuff. I've seen broken collarbones. And then what happens is, this is your upper body girdle. This is how we experience the world, right, guys? This is how you brush your teeth, wash your face, feed yourself, clean yourself, wipe yourself. I mean, really. And when you can't move, you're at a disadvantage, and you would maybe need to have a hospital stay in the rehab so people could help you out while you're healing. I've seen it, and it's not always people, again, who are elderly, so just be careful. Accidents happen. You can't prevent them all. Knowing your medications help. Point 2, right? And just be careful, okay? Also, too, like if you're in the hospital or a nursing facility, be careful. transferring, ambulating, which is a fancy term for getting up and walking, and I've seen this happen a lot because people we're used to walking. We're used to doing what we have to do, right? Independent. I got to go to the bathroom. I'm going to get up and go to the bathroom. Well, if you're healing, or if you're on new medications, again, your balance could be off. You could be dizzy, and then that could lead to a fall, which could lead to worse broken body parts, which could prolong your stay, if not indefinitely. If you become immobile, or you'd have to spend, life would be different. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So be careful, falls. All right, number 4. Okay, before this all happens, this is some pre-work for you. Be familiar with some of the facilities, both hospitals and skilled nursing facilities, and rehabs. Okay, and hospitals have rehab floors, and skilled nursing facilities have rehab units. Okay, so just to explain to you guys, hospitals, have an emergency room. Okay, God forbid. They also have ICU, God forbid. Okay, they also have general med surge. After you get released from the emergency room or ICU, you go to a general med surge floor, God forbid. There's also rehab floors in the hospital. Rehab floors are, you can stay there for, I think it's up to 3 months, but it's for multiple things. Again, neurological, Parkinson's, MS, broken bones, broken hips, trying to think, strokes, a lot of times strokes, okay? Heart attacks, you after you have a heart attack, you're weakened and everything. So anyways, knowing that, just be familiar. Also, skilled nursing facilities, also known as nursing homes. Nursing homes have units that are for rehab and are for short-term stays. Okay, so that's after, say you have a heart attack or stroke, and they stabilize you. There's nothing else they can do for you at the hospital. Maybe you don't want to stay at the hospital rehab unit. Maybe the hospital rehab unit is too full, so maybe you have to stay at a skilled nursing facility, aka nursing home. Now, nursing homes have long-term care, okay, which is usually people who are older, but sometimes people with disabilities, and they actually live there long-term. Okay, that's one section of a nursing home, skilled nursing facility. The second section is the short-term, also rehab, and I've seen everybody in those units, younger people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, rehabbing from various things. A lot of them, a lot of strokes, a lot of heart attacks, that people didn't even know were brewing. That's why it's really good to know your medical history. And also broken bones, orthopedic stuff, right? Lots of knees, lots of hips, broken, one guy had diabetes, no name, okay. One incident, I seen somebody, with diabetes, and had their toes amputated, okay, and couldn't do his activities of daily living, couldn't walk around, had to learn to walk again, his balance, had to use a cane. It's hard to live life like that. Think of all the things we do that require movement, mobility. We have to cook, we have to clean, we have to walk, we have to drive our car, we have to go grocery shopping, and with can you imagine, guys? Can you really imagine, what these poor people go through? Okay, and it could be one of us, or it could be somebody that we love. So that's why this information is really important, and I thank you guys for sticking around and listening. I know it's a long one, I know it. All right, but that was number 4. So know the difference. Hospitals and long-term care facilities both have rehab units, okay, for all ages. Okay, so try to pick one that you might like, just in case you should ever need it. You want to base it on things like the location. There might be a side of town you prefer, closer to your family, closer to your, to your community, or maybe you're the opposite. Maybe you want to heal away from your family or community. Maybe you want to go one county, one city over while you're healing or whatnot. Just think about that. Also, too, there's hospitals for things like veteran status, which is kind of a no-brainer. Usually veterans go to veterans hospitals. They get a big discount and everything, which as they should. They're usually really great hospitals, too, cutting-edge technology and whatnot. Also, too, there are facilities, both hospitals and skilled nursing facilities, that are religious-based. You have Catholic ones, you have Protestant ones, Lutheran homes, Catholic homes. Honestly, being a Christian person, I think, and I'm not a hypocrite here, I think the religious ones tend to be a little bit better. And this is because even if they, nobody's perfect, even Christians make the biggest mistakes and are the biggest sinners sometimes, right? That's nothing new. The church, the whole Bible was written for the church, right? These were actually people that are devoted to God, that are receiving all these reprimands and everything, right? The other ones, you think about it, people who aren't serving God aren't even reading the Bibles, so sometimes we read about stuff, we're like, oh, that was horrible. A lot of times those people were God's people. Anyways, with religious facilities and hospitals, I noticed they have usually a higher moral, their mission and value statement is usually based on the golden rule: treat others, honesty, integrity, stewardship and all that. And of course, everybody doesn't follow that, of course, even Christians. And there are some people who work in those facilities that are also not Christian. You guys know, like the church itself can be one of the most pagan places you ever see. But I digress. I'm not going to get off track. My whole point is, at least they're saying it. So there's a power of saying something. Our organization stands for honesty, integrity, and that's also something that you can later, that's part of their policy, which you can call them on it. Hey, you said, your place is, Christian based, and there's, honesty here, and something was stolen, and you're going to be and it's right in their mission statement and their values. So based on that, I think if you are a religious person, Christian or whatever, Jewish, I know there's homes for, specifically nursing homes and hospitals that are, or at least a nursing home that I know of. I think it's good for you. I think it's a little bit better, a little bit higher quality from what I've seen. I've worked with at Catholic places, and they have a really high standard for their facilities. It was amazing, actually. And I'm not Catholic at all, but I really think they run great programs. Okay, so that being said, something to think about where you want to stay should you ever need to. Find out beforehand. Okay, number 5. And this video is getting kind of long here, so I'm going to talk about number 5 right now, and then I think I'm going to have to make a part 2, okay? Otherwise it's going to go too long and nobody's going to watch this. I know you guys are getting tired. All right, stick with me here. Number 5, this is important, okay? Let me just tell you. Know your staff in a hospital or nursing facility, okay? Who's who? Not celebrities. The celebrities are great. They're wonderful. They're entertaining. They have skills. Okay, we're not talking about that. When you're in a hospital or long-term care facility, skilled nursing facility, who's who? Who are all these people, right? And they're responsible for your care. So it's good to know who you're dealing with, okay? You have doctors, okay, which you see a lot of in the hospitals. Rarely, I would say, in the skilled nursing facilities. Doctors come on certain days at certain times, but usually they don't have their offices there. So they come and visit, versus hospitals. A lot of times the doctor's offices are right there, but sometimes albeit in different buildings or whatnot. But anyways, yeah, you have your doctors, you have your nurses, you have your nurses' aides, you have the therapy department, which is physical therapy, PT, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech, all that. That's part of the therapy team. You have your dietary. That's the people who cook your healthy, delicious food. Hats off to them. They work hard in dietary. Them people work hard, to get all those meals out and everything. And they're mighty good too. So you got them. You got environmental services, which is the cleaning staff. They're called environmental services. And they keep it nice and clean. They control the infections, as you can imagine, with a lot of people going in and out and sicknesses. There's a lot of things to keep clean and a high standard to hold up to. So they're there doing their work. You also got lab staff, who usually come in to do like blood draws, or you also have people, the technicians, to come in and do the x-rays and stuff with the little portable machines. So yeah, have an idea of what they do. Okay, you don't have to know exactly, but have a good idea. Okay, also too, I just want to mention the nurses are the ones who pass the medications. Okay, so the main med pass, as far as I know, it's 4 times a day, the main med pass. Okay, there's always things like insulin, which are based on meals, thyroid medications, which are based on meals, and PR, as needed, pain pills and whatever. So that's not usually on the schedule, but in general, most meds for the med pass, the nurses do them at 8 a.m., noon, 4 p.m., and again at 8 p.m., and then the night shift med pass, which I don't know those times. But in general, from what I know, double check it, but if you're ever staying there short-term or long-term, just know that the nurses have a time when they get the meds from their cart and go pass them out, okay? So yeah, and now the nurses' aides are going to be more hands-on with helping you do like your cares for your body. You know, going to the bathroom, helping you brush your teeth, helping you do your hair, helping you take a shower, helping you walk to the bathroom, to the shower without falling. You know, call them. They're there to help prevent your falls, along with the nurses. You know, because the nurses, when they're not busy, also help out with those things. So, but yes, that's your staff there, okay? So, and they're there to help you, and yeah, I think we'll leave off right here, guys. So just, I'm gonna make a part 2 of the other 5 points: how to survive a short-term or long-term stay in a hospital or skilled nursing facility. All right, what else did I want to say? Oh yeah, and I'll include the bonus tip on the other video. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I hope everything is well with you, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, bye.